LVMH. Bernard Arnault owns 75 brands. One company, one man. LVMH controls Louis Vuitton, Dior, Givenchy, Bulgari, Sephora, Dom Perignon, and 40 more. Combined, they generate over $85 billion in annual revenue. Arnault built this not by inventing luxury, but by acquiring it, buying distressed heritage brands at low valuations, stripping out discounting, and letting scarcity do the rest. LVMH never puts items on sale. The policy is deliberate. The moment a luxury brand discounts, it stops being luxury. Arnault understood this before most people understood what luxury actually sells. It does not sell products. It sells the feeling that you arrived. Moët Chandon. Moët Chandon has been the official champagne of power since Napoleon Bonaparte demanded it at every military victory. Napoleon personally knew Quad Moët. The house supplied champagne to the French imperial court, then to the courts that replaced it, then to the celebrities that replaced the courts. Today, a bottle of Dom Perignon, Moët's prestige line, costs $200 at retail and $600 at a nightclub. The markup between production and nightclub pricing is approximately 1,000%. Nightclubs don't sell champagne. They sell the visual of champagne arriving with a sparkler in front of an audience. Moët has been selling that visual since 1743. Tiffany Co. Tiffany's greatest product is a color, Pantone 1837, the specific robin's egg blue that has appeared on every Tiffany box since 1878. The color is trademarked. No other company can legally reproduce it for commercial packaging. Before the internet, before brand strategy was a profession, Tiffany understood that the box mattered as much as what was inside it. Women kept empty Tiffany boxes for decades. LVMH acquired Tiffany in 2021 for $15.8 billion, the largest luxury acquisition in history. They bought the jewelry. They really bought the box. More specifically, they bought what happens in a woman's chest when she sees that color across a room. Gucci. Gucci nearly died in the 1980s. Family feuds, licensing disasters, and department store overexposure reduced one of Italy's most historic fashion houses to a brand people associated with cheap airport merchandise. Then, in 1994, a Texan named Tom Ford walked in, removed almost everything, and rebuilt the entire visual identity around sex. Sales went from $230 million to over $1 billion in 4 years. Today, Gucci generates over $10 billion annually under Kering Group. The lesson the industry took from Gucci's near death: a luxury brand can survive almost anything except being common. Once consumers associate your logo with accessibility, the brand is already dying. Recovery is possible, it just requires burning almost everything down first. Saint Laurent. Yves Saint Laurent invented ready-to-wear luxury in 1966 with a boutique called Rive Gauche that sold designer clothing without the couture price tag or appointment requirement. The fashion establishment declared it a betrayal of haute couture. Saint Laurent understood something the establishment didn't. Exclusivity based purely on price is fragile. Exclusivity based on taste is permanent. The brand survived Saint Laurent's retirement, his death, and 2 complete rebrandings. Under Hedi Slimane, the house dropped Yves from its name entirely and tripled revenue. Removing the founder's first name from a brand he built from nothing and growing it faster than ever is either disrespectful or the highest possible form of tribute. The industry still hasn't decided which. Cartier. Cartier made its reputation by putting crowns on heads. The house supplied tiaras and jewels to 19 royal families in the early 20th century, earning the title Jeweler of Kings and King of Jewelers from Edward VII of Britain. When royalty declined as a cultural institution, Cartier transferred its association to anyone who replaced royalty in public imagination: film stars, industrialists, oil heirs. The love bracelet, designed in 1969, required a screwdriver to remove and was marketed to lovers as a symbol of permanent commitment. Cartier provided the screwdriver. Many couples lost the screwdriver immediately. The bracelet retails for $7,000 today. The screwdriver is still included. Cleef Arpels. Cleef Arpels invented a setting technique in 1933 called mystery set, in which gemstones appear to float with no visible metal holding them. The technique requires each stone to be individually mounted on invisible rails beneath the surface. A single mystery set piece takes a master craftsman between 300 and 700 hours to complete. The house has never automated the process, never licensed it, never taught it outside the atelier. Van Cleef's entire competitive advantage is locked inside the hands of craftsmen who learned it from the original workshop. The technique cannot be replicated at scale. That is not a limitation, that is the business model. Hermès. Hermès began as a harness maker for horses in 1837. The company spent its first century making equipment for animals. When the automobile replaced the horse, Hermès pivoted to luggage, then leather goods, then scarves, then the Birkin bag, which has a waitlist measured in years, a base price starting at $10,000, and a secondary market where certain models sell for over $500,000. A bag that started on a waitlist became a financial asset that outperforms the S&P 500 over a 10-year period. Hermès never advertised the Birkin as an investment. Customers figured that out themselves. The company's response to people buying Birkins as assets was to make them even harder to obtain. Restricting supply was never the strategy. It was always just who they were. Chanel. Coco Chanel died in 1971. Her company has since tripled in size. Chanel No. 5 remains the best-selling perfume in the world over a century after its launch. The entire company is privately held by the Wertheimer family, which means Chanel files no public financial disclosures, has no shareholders to answer to, and controls every distribution and pricing decision without external oversight. Revenue is estimated at $17 billion annually. Chanel's competitive advantage over every other luxury house is structural. They cannot be acquired. Arnault built LVMH by acquiring. Kering acquires. Chanel cannot be bought. When a brand with those revenues is not for sale at any price, the price becomes theoretical, and theoretical prices have no ceiling. Rolex. Rolex is owned by a charitable foundation. The Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, established in 1944, owns 100% of Rolex and distributes all profits to charitable causes in Geneva. Rolex generates an estimated $9 billion annually. No individual profits from those earnings. There are no shareholders, no dividends, no pressure to grow quarter over quarter. This structure, unique among luxury watchmakers, allows Rolex to make decades-long manufacturing decisions with no financial urgency. The GMT Master 2 still uses a movement architecture the company introduced in the 1950s because the architecture is correct and there is no financial incentive to change it unnecessarily. The world's most recognized luxury watch is technically owned by no one, which is exactly why no one can ever ruin it. Ferrari. Ferrari produces fewer than 14,000 cars per year by deliberate restriction. The company could build more. They choose not to. Ferrari's CEO has stated explicitly that the company will always manufacture one fewer car than global demand requires. The waiting list for certain models runs 5 to 7 years. Ferrari's profit margin per vehicle, approximately $100,000 on cars that sell for $250,000 to $3 million, is the highest of any automaker on Earth. The company was publicly listed in 2015. Analysts initially questioned whether a luxury car company could maintain margins at scale. Ferrari's answer was to not scale. Revenue grows through price increases, not volume increases. The rarest commodity Ferrari manufactures is not the car, it is the weight.